In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan welcomes comedian and political commentator Dave Smith. The conversation spans a wide range of topics, from the current political landscape to cultural issues and the implications of war and media narratives. The discussion begins with a reflection on the recent elections and the power of voting. Smith emphasizes that despite widespread beliefs about election rigging and manipulation, the act of voting still holds significant weight. He draws parallels to past elections, particularly the Obama-McCain race, where the enthusiasm for Obama was palpable, yet polls suggested a closer race. This observation leads to a broader conversation about the importance of civic engagement and the reality that, at least in some cases, voting can lead to genuine change. Rogan and Smith delve into the idea that the political landscape is often perceived as a puppet show where the outcomes seem predetermined. However, they argue that the recent elections have shown that the electorate can still exert influence, especially when the stakes are high. The conversation highlights the need for individuals to remain engaged in the political process, as the collective action of voters can lead to significant shifts in power dynamics. As the conversation progresses, the topic shifts to media manipulation and the role of polling in shaping public perception. Smith shares his skepticism about the accuracy of polls, citing Trump's 2016 election as an example where polls failed to capture the true sentiment of the electorate. He argues that the media often gaslights the public, creating narratives that do not align with reality. This manipulation can lead to a disconnect between what people observe in their daily lives and what is reported in the news. Rogan and Smith discuss how the media's portrayal of political figures can influence public opinion. They point out that the media often focuses on sensationalism rather than substantive issues, which can skew the public's understanding of candidates and their policies. This dynamic raises questions about the integrity of journalism and the responsibility of media outlets to provide accurate information. The conversation then turns to Donald Trump's presidency and the complexities of his administration. Smith reflects on the challenges Trump faced while in office, particularly regarding appointments and the influence of established political figures. He notes that Trump entered the presidency without a deep understanding of the political landscape, which led to difficulties in navigating the bureaucracy. Rogan and Smith discuss the mixed legacy of Trump's presidency, acknowledging both the successes and failures. They highlight the economic growth during his tenure and the lack of new military conflicts, contrasting it with the media's portrayal of him as a dictator. This discussion underscores the importance of critically evaluating political leaders beyond the narratives presented by mainstream media. Throughout the podcast, Smith emphasizes the role of comedy in addressing political issues. He argues that comedians have a unique ability to challenge societal norms and provoke thought through humor. Rogan and Smith discuss how comedy can serve as a vehicle for discussing difficult topics, allowing audiences to engage with complex issues in a more accessible way. Smith shares anecdotes from his own experiences in stand-up comedy, illustrating how humor can be used to critique political figures and societal trends. He believes that comedians have a responsibility to speak truthfully and push boundaries, especially in a climate where censorship and political correctness are prevalent. This perspective highlights the importance of free speech and the role of artists in fostering dialogue. The conversation takes a turn towards the topic of psychedelics and their potential therapeutic benefits. Smith advocates for the decriminalization of psychedelics, particularly for veterans suffering from PTSD and other mental health issues. He argues that psychedelics can provide profound insights and healing, offering an alternative to traditional pharmaceuticals. Rogan and Smith discuss the historical context of psychedelics, noting how they were once widely used for therapeutic purposes before being criminalized. They emphasize the need for a cultural shift in how society views these substances, advocating for research and exploration of their benefits. This discussion underscores the importance of mental health and the potential for psychedelics to play a role in healing. As the conversation continues, the topic shifts to the broader implications of the war on drugs. Smith critiques the criminalization of drug use and the impact it has on individuals and communities. He argues that the war on drugs has disproportionately affected marginalized populations and has failed to address the root causes of addiction. Rogan and Smith discuss the need for a more compassionate approach to drug use, advocating for harm reduction strategies and treatment options rather than punitive measures. They highlight the importance of understanding addiction as a public health issue rather than a criminal one. This perspective encourages a re-evaluation of current drug policies and the potential for reform. The podcast also addresses the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict, with Smith expressing concern over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. He critiques the U.S. government's unwavering support for Israel, arguing that it perpetuates violence and suffering. Rogan and Smith discuss the complexities of the situation, acknowledging the historical context and the challenges of finding a resolution. Smith emphasizes the need for a more balanced approach to foreign policy, advocating for the protection of human rights for all individuals involved in the conflict. He argues that the U.S. should not blindly support one side without considering the consequences of its actions. This discussion highlights the importance of empathy and understanding in addressing global conflicts. Throughout the episode, the influence of corporate media is a recurring theme. Smith critiques the way media outlets shape narratives and control public discourse. He argues that the corporate media often prioritizes profit over truth, leading to sensationalism and misinformation. Rogan and Smith discuss the rise of alternative media platforms and the shift in how people consume news. They highlight the importance of independent voices and the role of social media in challenging mainstream narratives. This conversation underscores the need for critical thinking and media literacy in an age of information overload. As the podcast nears its conclusion, Smith shares his thoughts on the future of American politics. He expresses optimism about the potential for change, particularly with the rise of new political figures who challenge the status quo. Rogan and Smith discuss the importance of grassroots movements and the role of everyday citizens in shaping the political landscape. Smith emphasizes the need for a more inclusive political discourse, encouraging individuals to engage with diverse perspectives. He believes that fostering open dialogue is essential for addressing the challenges facing the nation. This discussion highlights the importance of civic engagement and the potential for collective action to drive change. The conversation also touches on the broader role of humor in society. Smith argues that humor can serve as a powerful tool for social commentary, allowing individuals to confront uncomfortable truths. Rogan and Smith discuss how comedy can break down barriers and foster understanding among people with differing viewpoints. Smith shares anecdotes from his own experiences in comedy, illustrating how humor can be used to address serious issues in a relatable way. He believes that comedians have a unique responsibility to challenge societal norms and provoke thought through their work. This perspective underscores the importance of free expression and the role of artists in shaping cultural conversations. Throughout the episode, the importance of mental health is a recurring theme. Smith advocates for greater awareness and understanding of mental health issues, particularly among veterans and marginalized communities. He emphasizes the need for accessible resources and support systems to help individuals navigate their struggles. Rogan and Smith discuss the stigma surrounding mental health and the importance of fostering open conversations about it. They highlight the need for a cultural shift in how society views mental health, advocating for compassion and understanding. This discussion underscores the importance of prioritizing mental well-being in a rapidly changing world. The podcast also addresses the impact of technology on society. Smith and Rogan discuss how advancements in technology have transformed communication and information sharing. They highlight the potential for technology to empower individuals and facilitate social change. Smith emphasizes the need for responsible use of technology, advocating for ethical considerations in its development and implementation. He believes that technology should serve to enhance human connection and understanding rather than create division. This perspective underscores the importance of navigating the digital landscape with intention and awareness. As the conversation draws to a close, Smith reflects on the role of activism in society. He emphasizes the importance of grassroots movements and the power of collective action in driving change. Rogan and Smith discuss the challenges faced by activists and the need for resilience in the face of adversity. Smith encourages individuals to engage in activism and advocate for causes they believe in. He believes that every person has the potential to make a difference, regardless of their background or resources. This discussion highlights the importance of civic engagement and the potential for individuals to effect meaningful change in their communities.